Hey, what is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the My Stock Journey channel. So today we have something very, very awesome, something that I've been looking forward to for so long, something me and this guy have been, planning on doing and thinking about doing and kind of making it work. And, it's something that's finally come to fruition. And I have a collaboration video with my man Trevor from No Course Finance. No Course Finance is another stock, financial, personal self growth channel that, is here on YouTube. A dude who I've watched before, and the dude that I've looked up to, and a guy who really makes very quality content. He has super valuable information that he shares in every single video. And if you definitely do get some value from this channel, absolutely head over to the No Course Finance channel. Check him out, drop a like, drop a subscribe, hit him up in the comment section. We always reply to every single comment. And yeah, I hope you guys do like this video. I have not done anything like this before on this channel, but I feel like it's going to be something that adds a lot of value to you guys, and that's all I really care about, is documenting my journey and adding as much value as I possibly can. If you do like this video, drop a like for me. It definitely, helps me out so much. I'll reach new audiences. I can talk to new people and get, advice, feedback, support from different areas and, groups on YouTube. And yeah, if you have any feedback, any comments, suggestions, questions, anything like that, hit me up in the comment section. I'll reply to everything. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. And yeah, let's get into the collab.
What's up, guys? My name's Trevor. This is Tyler. We're going to be talking today about how we started investing as college students. I think we both think this is really, really important because I think we made a lot of excuses not to get started in college. And I think a lot of people make a lot of excuses to not get started in college. So today we kind of wanted to run through with you guys how we got started, what's worked for us, how we started making some money to be able to invest in college. And then we also want to go over some growth stocks and some dividend stocks that we're looking at as kind of like a bonus towards the end of the video for the summer of 2020 in this crazy market that we're in. So let's start with you, Tyler. So what exactly got you into stocks? Like, how did you start investing? Where'd you come up with the money to start investing, and what kind of drew you to that?
So basically with me, it was just, I had been working for a while. I got my first job similar to you. I was working in a kitchen, and I really had no necessary reason to need the money other than the fact that I just wanted to help my parents out a little, because, as I don't think, we kind of talked about it, but, I'm an MMA fighter. And so it's pretty costly, training camps, hotel room, traveling, fights, booking, shipping, t-shirts, doing all this stuff. It gets costly. And, you kind of start to feel bad when you see your parents spending this money here, this money here, this money there, this money here. And my mom, my dad, they never talked about it to me, but you could always just kind of tell when there's financial stress. And so with me, it was just, I wanted to get a job just so I could help them out. If I gave them $20 in my head, I was like, it was 20 less that they had to spend. And so as time went on, I was just saving. My parents never asked money of me, but I felt better knowing that if they needed help, I could help them. And so I worked there for about a year and a half or so, roughly. I was about 17 and a half, coming up on 18, whenever I first started thinking, well, I'm kind of tired of working for a wage. Every day I go in here and I feel like I'm working harder and harder, but I'm getting paid the same. And it didn't make sense to me, especially also like I just personally felt like I was outworking people, and I felt my value was increasing, but we were all getting paid the same, and it didn't make much sense. And so actually my sister moved back in with this, and she started working at a store. And she was like, yeah, basically the better you do, the more you get paid. And I'm like, oh, okay. So next thing you know, I quit my job out of nowhere, but without telling my parents anything. I just quit. I'm like, look, I'm going for it. My mom was like, I don't know. And I'm like, I'm going for it. And it actually turns out to be like the best job that I could have ever had. I'm making more money and doing this. Well, I'm just the type of person, I'm never really satisfied. I go from making some money to making more money. I'm like, well, how can I make more money? The thing about it was I'm training and I'm doing all this stuff, so I have no more time. And that was super important. It was super important because I was like, how can I make money without using more of my time?
Trading your time, absolutely.
Exactly. And so I'm like, well, I can't add hours to the day. If I could have 35-hour days, that'd be great. But it's not realistic. And so I was just like, hey, cool. Well, if that's that, then I need my money to make money. Well, the problem with that is I'm not Harry Potter. I don't know how to make these dollars come alive and start, digging for gold. I don't know how to do that, right? So I started YouTubing and looking on YouTube and doing all these things. I'm like, how do I do this? I don't know what a bond is. I don't know how to get into that. And I was very financially uneducated, and I do wish they taught it a little bit more in school. Like, this
100%.
is what financial education. I was super uneducated and I was about to be in the real world. The real world, And so I'm YouTubing and I'm doing all this stuff. And it's actually very funny how I came across stocks. When you download, like you get your phone for the first time and there's that app and it's like stocks and you can see.
Yeah.
I saw that and I literally was clearing storage on my phone and I deleted it. And I was like, what was that? And so I'm like, So I go on YouTube and I look it up. And the first person to pop up is Andre Jick. I don't know have you seen him before?
I have. I've seen him around on YouTube, but I actually have not watched much of his videos, actually.
Well,
he's really popular.
Yeah, super duper. But it's the way he delivered it wasn't scheming. Like, it's like sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was kind of like, look, this is what I do. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Absolutely. And I was like, okay, well, this is different. He's not trying to sell me something. And so, I'm watching his videos and I'm doing this. And I'm like, wait, there's a way for your money to really make more money? Because, I'm like, I don't own a business. And, this was at the time, like now, I have my training and all that stuff. But at the time, I didn't have a business. I played Xbox all day and I went to school. So I was like, there's a way I can actually make more money with my money? I didn't believe it. So I stopped watching it for a week. I was like, whatever. And so typical, 17-year-old action right there. A week goes by and I actually lose I lose a couple dollars doing something. I don't remember what I was doing. I was just messing around with friends and I made a bet and I lost some money and I was like, man, I wish I could make that back. And I was like, I'm going to go find a stock that'll make it back. All jokes. Literally, a lot of this all started as joking with me. So I go on YouTube and I'm like, what's the best stock to buy? And you're going to love this. You know what the stock was?
Tesla.
And the reason I bought Tesla was because I saw a Tesla while I was on the bus. It's all ridiculous. Like the route that happened was ridiculous on how this all ended up.
So we should pause right there because, yes, we should know what we're doing before we start investing, right? We should understand the basics, but you're not necessarily going to know everything. You just started, right?
Yeah.
You just started and you learn along the way.
Right.
That's huge.
Exactly.
Yeah, continue.
And it's scary because you're like, well, if I'm learning lessons, I'm losing money. And I don't like, that's not necessarily the right mindset because, you're probably going to lose $10 when you first start. But if, you get in, I got in perfect. I got in and I think I bought my first fractional share of Tesla because I was on M1 Finance. And I put $100 into Tesla like December 6th or something like that. Next thing you know, boom, takes off. And I'm like, I literally sat there and thought in my bed, I was like, I am a genius. Now, still typical young, dumb kid, right? And I'm like, I'm a genius. I can do this forever. So I'm calling my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm quitting my job. Literally, I don't know what was wrong, but for some reason, I thought I had it. Well, the next thing you know, right back down. And I'm like, okay, there's more to this. So I go back to Andre Jick's video. And now the way for me to find him, because I didn't remember his name, I had to go through my history in my YouTube videos of 2 weeks. Now, I don't know if you're a big YouTube watcher, but that's a lot of YouTube videos. And then next thing you know, man, 6-7 months go by and I'm in love with it. I'm sitting here and I'm doing this. And, I first started $100 I invested into Tesla. Then it turned into 800 that I was in, then 1,000, then 2,000. And then the market drops. And I really, really felt like for me, it was very perfect timing, honestly, because I had a few months to learn before one of the biggest opportunities of my life came around. And that was this pandemic, and so when it shot, I put like 10 grand in roughly. And the 10 grand just came from me working a lot because that's all I did. I worked, I didn't have expenses, so I saved everything. And, it was just almost a perfect timing for me, and that was really just the basics of where it came from with me, how it started. And crazy.
Dude, I relate to that on so many levels, man, because like you said with the fighting you do. So I don't do fighting, but I play music. Right. I played a band here in Los Angeles, and that is equally, if not more, if not less, it is equally as expensive.
Yeah.
To play music. You're funding your merch. You're funding we have to fund most of our shows, man. Right now it's like, it's not like a lot of people are out, and wanting to just randomly go to a local band show. Like, we have to promote. We got to pay for promotions, for all the gear, and, it's all this stuff. And that's where it really started for me, man, was, how can I be more free financially to pursue the things that I want? And I think, for you, it's MMA, and so your parents aren't, you're not relying on your parents. And for me, it was like, how can I do that for myself so that I don't have to depend on anybody else? It wasn't necessarily I want a ton of money. It's like I want more freedom, right? And that whole mindset came from, okay, I have this money, because same thing as you. I started investing at 18, and it was, okay, I'm making money, but a decent amount of money, not a lot. But how can I make this money work for me without like gambling? Like, I can't do well gambling. How can I make this money work well for me? And I was just struggling with that. I was like, I need to find a way that I can multiply this. I don't have a lot of expenses. I need to learn how to do something. And for me, it wasn't that Andre guy. It was Jeremy from Financial Education.
Okay.
That was my guy. And I learned a ton from him, man. His content back in 2018, 2019, specifically, I mean, daily. I was watching him and Graham Stephan, Ryan Scribner, and Nate O'Brien, all those guys, man. They really opened up a whole new financial world for me, man. It was like, oh, I don't have to have a ton of money to start, and like, oh, I don't have to know everything, and like I felt like I had to be like on Wall Street and take a finance class, be like a finance student. I'm like, I don't know the first thing about investing, man, but I got RobinHood, and I just saw how simple it was, commission-free trading. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot, and everybody watching too. Like, I invested $600 my first trade, like, and obviously I put more in over time. But a lot of people, they just go, oh, I'm 18, I'm 19, I don't have enough money to start, and they just never start. But they don't realize that once you start, you build, and it's a long-term process, right? Like, you try to cut your expenses down, and you try to invest as much as you can. And you can do individual stocks like we talk about, but you can also do index funds or ETFs. Like, there's great things that you can do. And with the market being where it's at right now, I'm sure a lot of people wish they were investing back in March.
Yeah, man, that's a big thing for, especially, we're not the same age, but we're in the same category. And I think the biggest thing about it is, especially with people our age, is the fact that it's a lack of understanding. It's not brought to the general public's attention. Like, look, this is your options. These are your possibilities. Here's the market. Here's what you can do. Because when I first started, I thought the stock market was stuff for people way smarter than me. And I feel like I'm generally intelligent, but I don't feel like I'm some like, dude, you know what I mean? I can grasp it. And the thing is, it was two things. It's a lack of understanding. Like, I feel like not enough people it's not brought to their attention. But secondly, there's a lot of people now who are trying to sell courses and do this stuff who make it out to be a lot harder than it really is. The stock market's not simple in any way, but the fundamentals are easy to understand, and you can build your knowledge from there. Whereas if people are like, give me $1,000 and I'll teach you about the stock market, it's just kind of like, it's not hard to learn. You know what I mean? And it kind of drives people away.
Right. And I'm not opposed to courses. I've bought in courses, and I've gone on a lot of coaching memberships for a lot of different things. I'm all for it. And a lot of people ask me why I named my channel NoCourseFinance. It's not because I'm against courses. It's because I am trying to share with everybody my experience and basically my journey, kind of like your channel, my stock journey, right? It's not that we're experts. It's that I'm trying to just share with people, hey, this is what I've learned from my experience as a young age, and starting at 18. Now I'm 22. This, was a 4-year window is what I've learned. And, I never liked that idea of selling courses like that. I don't intend to do that, but I have no disrespect for people that do. I think you can make a ton of money. Absolutely. And you can do really well. But for me, it's always been, I just want to share with what I've learned so far, and track the journey, which is exactly what you're doing too. So,
and no doubt, man. Like, I feel like there's a lot of courses out there that can add a lot of value. You know what I mean? Like, some little people know, like Graham Stephan's course, super full of value. And you wouldn't even, like, most people don't even know he has one because he doesn't promote it. And it's
Yeah,
just like,
right.
it's investments. It's definitely investments. And, you know, sometimes it's a risk, but especially like with the courses, man, I look, if there's a creator who's giving you a lot of free content,
Yep.
those are typically the ones I trust because I've taken 2 or 3 now. And it's kind of like, if they're willing to give you free content, then I'm willing to buy even more. You know what I mean? And so, no doubt,
That's
but no
almost
course
what
finance is awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks. Well, that's one of the reasons, man, where I was in Jeremy's course for a long time too, and I bought a ton of other ones, not just stock market related, but I watched so much of Jeremy's free content
Right.
daily, and a lot of other people that I almost just like wanted to like give him money. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
hey, thanks so much
Support.
for your help. Thanks so much for your free content. Like, I usually don't hit the like button or comment on any videos as a
Right.
normal YouTube watcher.
Right.
But hey, man, you're changing everything for me. You changed my mindset, you know, and here's whatever you charge for the course.
No
But
doubt.
yeah, man, we're definitely not against it. I just I think for me it was more of like I had that mindset of going into the course as I'm gonna learn more from experience, but I'm paying for his time, you
Yeah.
know, in the market and paying for all these people's experience that they've had that I have not.
Save yourself
I
from
guess
making some of these mistakes that you could, you know, if they say don't do
exactly.
this and you were just about to do that, you know what I mean? It'll definitely
Exactly.
save you some money. You know, if you
Exactly.
pay a
If it
couple
weren't
$100
for all those
for it.
guys, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
If it weren't for all those guys, I would have probably traded on margin and, you know, just got into some risky investments.
Yeah.
But buy and hold for long term has been my game.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, you know, how in college, you know, they got a lot of things going on. Maybe they don't live with their parents. They don't commute from school. Maybe they live out of state and, you know, they take out loans and do all the stuff that college requires, right? A lot of people are probably wondering how we make money while we're in college and do it full time. So you want to share kind of your income sources and how you allocate capital to your investments?
Yeah, you know, I feel like when it comes to making money in college, I feel like necessarily making the money isn't the hardest part, but I think keeping money is the harder part whenever you get to college, just for me personally. And, you know, credits to Graham Stephan, like you said, like that dude got me thinking, boy, I'm about to spend $1 a day for the rest of my life. Like,
100%, man. It's so he's got 2 million followers now, but I think he needs to be shown in a classroom. Like,
yes,
hey,
absolutely.
I'm invested in a Roth IRA. I opened up my Roth IRA at 19 because of Graham Stephan, not because of my personal finance class in high school.
Yeah,
It was because I went on YouTube and found this guy that, you know, was talking about a Roth
yeah,
IRA. And it just blows me away. This is all
yeah,
on YouTube for free. And,
exactly.
you know,
The
people
resource.
like Graham are huge, you know, financial minimalism. And this guy's making, I don't know how many millions of dollars a year, but he's living like he's making $40,000
Right.
in LA. It's
That's,
just so much respect for
yeah,
people.
exactly. And that's what's kind of enabled me to invest more as a young person, just because
Absolutely.
first off, I came to a big realization at a young age that I don't have anyone to impress. You know, like I don't
Right.
feel the need to say, go buy, and I have no, like, hey, you want to go buy a brand new car, go buy that brand new car. But for me personally, I only wanted a brand new car just because I wanted to impress people. I wanted to, and you know, I wanted to get all these new clothes and do all this stuff just because I wanted the public to have a certain opinion about me. It didn't really matter in the long. I don't honestly care what anyone thought of me when I was 15. But the thing is, like, the biggest decision that I made, and like which allowed me to save a lot of money, is the college I chose. You know, like if you want to go get a doctor, like you want to be a doctor one day, and you go to an awesome college and all that stuff, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it makes sense that you go get the right education for the right career. But say if you're kind of like me, where you're not necessarily going to college, you're not relying on it to say fuel the rest of your career. You don't want to be a engineer or anything like that. I chose a college that didn't cost a lot, one that was in state. Because had I gone out of state, man, I was paying 40 grand a year, something like that. Whereas I would be getting the same education. I would be paying for living, which I would still live with my parents, and all these things to save money. The biggest thing with me is not necessarily making the money, but it's understanding saving money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people need to hear that. We don't make a ton of money.
Right.
We
No.
are intentional and we save. We save and we don't go out and and I'm sure you can agree with this, I still enjoy all the things I go out and do. I'm not at home all day saying no to friends and not doing it. I travel with my band. I go out and have a good time with friends and family, but I don't go out and get, for me, it's been food. Like, I don't go out and spend a ton of money on food. I try to meal prep things at home and, just find those frugal living tips, I guess. But it's not about how much money you're making. No. It's really, and this comes down to, I made a YouTube video on this recently of, you got to track your expenses because for me, it's fun. I use just literally a pen and paper, and I go down and just say how much I spent, how much I invested, and how much I saved, or how much I made. And you can look at that. You're going, wow, I'm spending, $80 at, McDonald's or whatever it is. Like, probably cut that down, right? Like, and that's almost like you're getting paid more in a way. Oh,
exactly. Exactly. You are.
And that's straight up to Graham Stephan. That's how I think of that. He brings up those videos all the time.
You save $50 going to McDonald's and you turn it into 80. You just, you made 30 more than you would have had before. And it's an understanding of want versus need. What do you want? What do you need? Right?
Exactly.
Okay. Man, I need those new shoes, bro. I need them. And you're just like, but do you? Like, do you really need them?
If you're a shoe guy, go for it.
Exactly.
I'm not a shoe guy.
Right.
I've been wearing the same pair of shoes for about 3 years now, I think. But for me, like, I'm a guitar guy, so I'll go get new guitars. And those aren't cheap. Those are something that I enjoy. So it's also about being intentional, right? Like, I'm not going to deprive myself of things. I'm going to go on vacations. I'm going to go do these things. But I think especially in college, we go out so much. And I'm going to a commuter school. So it's not even like a party school. It's not even like, it's literally I show up and then I go home. So there's not much, nightlife where I go. But for a lot of people, it's, every weekend they're going out, they're doing things. So we're not saying not to do that. It's just, be intentional and kind of think about, maybe if I got one less drink or one less this,
awareness of what you're spending.
Exactly. 100%.
It's very easy for it to just like build, especially like if you're not paying it. If you don't look at your credit card for 2 weeks, you're going to spend a lot more than you would have, because
that's why I say you need to track it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't care how old you are. If you're not tracking your stuff, I always refer to this term, run yourself like a business, right?
Right.
You imagine if a business didn't track their finances.
I don't
know how much we made. I don't know how much we spent this year. I don't know how much we're paying employees. Like, and I think that's super important. But
and one thing
I want to go back to. Oh, go for it.
Oh no, I was just saying like one thing, especially for the people watching, that's super duper important. I think we kind of touched on it earlier. It does not matter how much you invest. Like, invest something. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you only have $5 left over. That's enough. People get in the mindset, I don't have enough money. I only have 20 extra bucks to invest. I only have 30. Something is something. That money compounds. And I don't compounding is insane. So there's no such thing as not enough to invest. If you have extra money, you have an emergency fund, and you have all these things, you have enough to invest. You don't have to start off with $10,000. You don't have to start off with $5,000. It can be as little as $10, $100. To slowly start to build it up, because like you said, it builds, it compounds, and it turns into more and more. And it's super important.
And I think that's why we're so passionate about it, because we're young and we have that opportunity to compound over time, depending on how long you want to invest. And we're not expected to do that because we're in college and we have all these, expenses and we don't have much income. But, if you utilize any sort of amount of money into anything, again, it doesn't have to be individual stocks. It can be other things, it doesn't have to just be individual stocks. It's exactly. Just starting is absolutely huge, and you can do fractional shares now too. I mean, so you really don't even have to.
That's huge.
It's massive.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great tool. I want to go back to what you said about getting paid not based on time, based on results. And I want to touch on that for a second, because once I believe it was Rich Dad Poor Dad. Once I learned that, man, it really changed. It changed everything for me. Like I said, I was a line cook, and my friend started making a lot of money as a server. they started making, a lot of my friends left line cook and they started becoming a server.
Right.
And I was thinking to myself, like, man, they're making a lot of money right now. And, I feel like I'm working a lot harder than they are. Like, for real, I'm like, I'm in here making food and busting my butt. And, they're walking out with a ton of money every night. And I'm like, man, like, I'm getting paid no matter what. I'm getting paid, let's say, I don't know, I remember what it was. I think I was getting paid like $11 out here in California, which is not bad at all.
Right.
At 17, it was great. I think I'm getting paid, $11 an hour, and I'm getting paid no matter how hard I work.
Yeah.
Right? It's like Friday night when we're busy, we're slammed, $11 an hour. Monday when it's dead and there's nothing going on, $11 an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm getting paid just by clocking in, clocking out, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But for me, I was like, I think I'm capable of earning more around here. And so I started to become a server, and that took me like 8 months. I was terrible for the first forever.
Right.
What started happening was like, dude, I'm getting paid based on my results now. Like,
right.
I'm still clocking in. I'm still getting paid hourly, right? But I'm getting paid based on results, and I'm getting a lot more money in tips. And if my service is good, people will generally, not everybody, but people will generally give you bigger tips, and you start to build regulars, and you start to build a bigger amount of income.
Right.
And to me, it almost became a game. Like, okay, like I'm excited to go to work now because no matter how hard I work in this kitchen, I was getting paid the same. So there was no for me, there was no motivation to keep continuing to do this. I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna get paid the same, and serving. I'm like, okay, keep hustling, dude. Because if you're hustling and you're able to take more, more sections and, provide better service and increase your skills, you can walk out with more money.
Exactly.
And for me, dude, that was what changed everything for me. And I also like to tell people I kind of turned that into 2 sources of income, because when I was in kitchen, I was making that flat hourly rate.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to serving, I made that flat hourly rate plus the tips I was making.
Crazy.
So it's 2, right?
Yeah.
And 1. So for anybody watching, I just think if you're in college and you're really struggling to have time, or you're trying to figure out how to make more money, like if you can find some kind of server job, waitress job, or some job where you're getting paid on commission or you're getting paid on results, like for me, that changed everything.
Yeah.
And what I started doing after that was, okay, I don't have a lot of expenses. I'm living at home, commuting to my college, right? And I don't have a lot of expenses right now. I'm making decent money. What if I got a second income source or a third income source, and I started to live off of that income source?
Right.
So I started doing, are you familiar with DoorDash?
Yeah.
So I started doing DoorDash out here in California.
I bet that's big.
It was great. It was awesome. So I started trying to live off of the money that I made at DoorDash, and I would save and invest all the money I made with my serving job.
Nice.
So again, not everybody can do that. I understand, but if you can kind of tap into my mindset here, right? Like, instead of me, if I was making $30,000 a year, I acted like I was making $6. With DoorDash. Like, if I would have acted like I was making $30,000, I would have got the nicest car and the nicest watch and whatever, right?
Right.
And I just started living like that, and that changed everything for me, man. I did it for about 3 years, where it was just consistently after work, DoorDash, make that money and start to just develop. And it could be Uber, it can be whatever. But I think and DoorDash was similar, man. It was based on results. Like, if you could not drive faster, but
people going 130 down the interstate now.
Yeah. If you could get in the right spot at the right time, and you're familiar with the area, and you can navigate quicker, not drive quicker, but navigate quicker, like make more money. Like,
treat it like a game.
Exactly. I treated it like a game, man. A lot of people dragged going to work, and it got tired, obviously at some times, but like I kept walking in there like, there's an opportunity here to increase my portfolio from this money I'm making here, because pretty soon I'm going to graduate college, and I'm not going to be able to commute from my parents' house and not have a whole lot of expenses. I'm going to have to move out and get this going, and I want to be financially set for that.
Right. Exactly. It's the mindset,
again, man. Exactly. I get a lot of people aren't in that position, but for those that are in that position, or in a position where they're about to graduate and they feel like they have to go to a 4-year out-of-state university. I mean, for me and you, man, it was for us personally, right? We're not speaking for everybody, but just weigh the options.
Right.
Like, could you go to a community college for 2 years and while your friends are out partying, doing whatever, could you grind it out at some job and, work your way up and start earning more money and saving more money? And because that's what we did. I mean,
It's all about the why, man. It's the why. Like, okay,
exactly.
you want to go out of state, and I love saying it like this. You want to go out of state. You want to move out, go in your own apartment. You want to go out of state. Why? Okay, because you want to be out on your own. All right.
Right.
So basically, this is the realization I came to. Basically, you want to move out of state, away from everyone. Cool. You want to be there in a room that you're probably going to set up just like the room you have now. Your routine is going to be the same routine that you pretty much have now, and do all the same things that you're doing right now for a lot more money.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, what am I going to do that for? And that was really my mom, because my mom was like, hey, if you want to move out, move out. But why are you moving out? And I'm like, and she was like, so you're going to go spend $2,000 a month to do the same thing you're doing right now. And I'm like,
right.
I guess you got a good point. And so that was a big one for me. I was like, I'm staying here. Like I said, if you want to go to Harvard and get the best education, have the best career, absolutely. That's your why. But if you're just like, I don't know, I just want to, maybe, it's maybe worth reconsidering, your reasonings,
Absolutely. I think, people really want to go for the experience, and I can't argue that,
Right.
I'm sure college is a great experience. For me, I've learned the most working, while I'm going to school. It taught me a lot, and I'm still going, by the way. I'm still, I'm on my last year, senior year. So, but while a lot of my friends were out, doing the parties and doing all the stuff, and then coming home absolutely broke, man. They would just complain to me that they have absolutely no money. And I was just very content, because I'm like, I'm not comparing myself, everybody's doing their own thing. But I knew I made the right choice for me, and my why was I'd love to go out of state. I would love it, honestly. Like, it'd be great. But my why was because I think it would be cool. I don't really have a specific career that I'm going into. I'm doing real estate, and real estate, you don't really need a 4-year degree, right? Like, I'm not about to go pay $40,000 a year to go be a real estate agent. Like, I can just get my classes here at community college.
Education, right?
Exactly. So it really does come down to your why, man. I'm glad you brought that up, because I think a lot of people just feel like they need to go out and go do these things. But realization hits around May, when a lot of
no doubt.
A lot of people, man, they go, yeah, I graduated. I think I got $106,000 in student debt, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's so common. It's so common.
I'm like, buddy, but you graduated. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with education. I wish we taught more finance and investing and all that. But in the same breath, man, I'm really hoping people, especially if you're graduating high school, if you're in high school, whatever, you really think about your why as to where you're going, why you want to go there, and just looking ahead, not just looking at the 4 years that you're going to really enjoy, because a lot of people do enjoy the 4 years, and I enjoyed mine too. But you definitely want to think ahead, not just the 4-year time you're going to have there. But
your end goal, and with me, I'm not gonna lie, would it be fun to just go and turn up all the time? Yeah, of course it would be. Who says it wouldn't? But the thing about it is, I accepted this mindset in that I would rather hustle now and I have good fun every now and then. It's typically after my fights, like 2 or 3 days after, I just go crazy for a couple of days, and then I come back down. But the thing about it is, with me, is like I've accepted the mindset of I hustle now and I grind and I work as hard as I possibly can for the next 10 years to live the rest of my life doing whatever I so please, rather than struggling now and having fun as much as I can, but struggling for the rest of my life. That I can't accept that. I can't accept the thought of worrying about myself financially until I'm gone. It's a mindset
Absolutely.
of hustle now, reap the benefits later. And
Yeah,
that's
and
pretty much got me through.
and when you think about your fighting career and then my music career, it's like when it comes down to when we started making, money and the choices that we had, it was like, okay, I'm sure you wanted that new car. I'm sure you wanted to go do all these things. But if you get that new car and you get that possession or that thing, well, all of a sudden now you're more liable to that thing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You can't go practice as much or do more fights that you want because you have to go work a job to pay for that thing. So for me, it was always, and I'm no minimalist by any means. Okay, I have things,
Right.
but I always make that decision. I'm like, do I really want? For me, it's guitars, right? If I'm really gonna buy that $1,000, $2,000 guitar, am I gonna have to work more hours, which in turn will allow me to not work or not play more shows? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if
Right.
the
I
less
like that. I
I
didn't
owe,
think of that. Yeah.
yeah, the less I owe to somebody, the more free I'll be, which means I can do things that I want to do. And and with music, especially here in Los Angeles, like, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
not cheap, and it requires a lot of money, and a lot of people struggle because
Absolutely.
they don't have their finances set. And um, yeah, like we talked about, it's not about the money for us. It's really about the freedom to pursue, your fighting career, my music, and just not have to be, doing things we don't want to do, and
Exactly.
it's definitely a good mindset to have at a young age for sure.
Just live your life on your own terms. That
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's freedom in my opinion. It's not because I don't want to say like what say training, and I'm a coach as well now, and I don't want to say like I want to make enough money to where I can just go. I kind of got this from Dan Loke as well, and he's just like go sit on a beach somewhere and never do anything else. I would absolutely hate not doing anything all the
Right.
time.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's the idea of being able to live on my own terms. That's my why. My why is one day I want to be able to live my life and do what I want to do. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I don't have
Yep.
to go here if I don't want to. I don't have to pay
Right.
for this if I don't want to. And if I
Right.
want something, I can't. And I like say if I want to get that, I don't know, those new gloves, I can get them under my own terms because if I don't have enough money, I'm not living my life under my own terms. I can't get those things that I want. And
Right.
so at the end of the day, I just want to go out knowing that I experienced all the things that I could. And, I met all the people I wanted to. And, with YouTube, like being able to meet you and other people like that,
Right.
it's a mindset of just like, are you willing to work for it or not? It,
Right.
that's really the biggest question that I can ask anyone like my age, any age. Are you willing to work for it? Are you willing to sit down, save money, miss out on that one night out, and do all these things in order to live on your own terms?
Right.
That's the biggest one for me.
100%. I agree 100%, man. And it doesn't even have to be stocks. I know we talk about
Yeah.
stocks a lot, but it doesn't even have to be, man. It could just be saving money for you, or
Exactly.
if you're able to get into real estate. And sometimes when people talk to me, I create the YouTube channel because I got a lot of people talking to me about investing and all these things, and they're like, I have $1,000 to invest, right? And I want to get started. I'm like, great. Well, where are you at, like financially? Where do you have any credit card debt, whatever? And they're like, yeah, well, I got a $750 car payment, per month, and I got $20,000 of student loans, but I have $1,000 to invest. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, hold on. You know what I mean?
Slow
Like,
down a bit.
like, give me 1 second. Like, I've always been a guy where it's like, I'd much rather be debt free. I know a lot of people say, you can invest and you can beat the debt and the interest rate. You'll get a higher interest rate with, your debt is such a low interest rate that you might as well invest and beat it.
Right.
To me, recently, just especially with the market that we've had in March and just the volatility, it's like, I've been always the guy where it's like, I'll just pay off all my consumer debt, pay off my car, pay off all the things if I can, and then I'll start getting investing, and
Right.
yeah, I think, but that goes back, man, to what we talked about earlier is like, do you really need that $750, car payment,
Yeah.
every month?
What's the point?
To me, man, it never made sense. It never made sense to me. Yeah, it just never made sense.
And that's just like how I think about it, man. It's like, okay, say you buy a $70,000 car. Okay.
Mhm.
You're going to pay it off over 5 years. Cool.
Mhm.
Realistically, you're probably about to pay about $100,000. But that's fine. Let's keep it at 70 grand. What's your why? Well, I bought this car because I want to look cool. Then I'll sit there and I'll be like, all right, let me ask you something. Is you looking cool worth $250,000? Like, no, it's not. I'm like, okay. So if you were to invest about 70 grand, you know what that could probably turn into over the next 10 years? And then,
If you invest in a simple index fund, man.
yeah, and then they're
Invest in a
like,
simple index fund.
yeah, and they're like, well, I only, and I'm like, I know. Like, that's what I thought too, because I think of every dollar I make is about $1.10. Just mentally, because then you start to realize how much money you could have had if you didn't get this. And that's why it goes back to your why.
It comes down to your why and your opportunity cost. That's what I've always looked at.
Yes, absolutely.
So a great example of that, and then we'll get into some of the stocks that we recommend or we talk about that we're looking at. The opportunity cost, man. I have a great story about this. I'll make a YouTube video probably after this comes out about Tesla. So a lot of people that watch my channel, I have a big position in Tesla. I did really well, and I was sitting out here in my backyard last summer around May. Okay, and Tesla was trading at $185 a share at that time.
Okay.
And I was sitting here telling my brother, I was like, dude, I really want a Tesla, man. Like, I really want a Tesla. I have some friends that have some, out here in California. They're everywhere. For some reason, I just love the Teslas. I love the simplicity of it. I'm just a big fan, right? And I was sitting here and I was like, I think I might get one, dude. Like, I might do it. And I remember thinking to myself, because I just read Rich Dad Poor Dad a year before. So I'm about to buy a liability like this, man, when I'm getting earned income from a job that I don't necessarily really like, and I'm still in college, and I'm about to pull up in a Tesla. To me, I just kind of weighed that cost. I'm like, well, what's the opportunity cost of me doing this, right? If I buy a $40,000 Tesla, well, what's the opportunity cost there? Am I losing $40,000? I'm probably losing more, because if I invested that money in just a simple index fund, a simple index fund, right? I'd be making more money on that, obviously. Exactly. It's not a depreciating asset generally, right? So, I sat there and I'm like, man, I think I need to buy a Tesla. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to invest in Tesla stock. And I'm going to have Tesla stock buy me.
Buy me a Tesla. Yes, indeed. All right.
So that came from Rich Dad Poor Dad, that mindset of buy assets, your assets will buy your liabilities.
Yeah.
That's straight from Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I'm like, okay. I was sitting right out here, dude. I'm like, all right, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I didn't do it all at once, but I've been looking into Tesla stock since then. I was for the past couple months before then, I was looking into it. Yeah. I told myself, you know what? The money I would put for the car, I'm going to put for Tesla stock. I did that with an average cost of $220. I had 94 shares, and the stock mooned to like 960, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm back here in December, and I'm like sitting there looking at my account, like that opportunity cost for me was, I don't know, $60,000. Like, you know what I mean? Like I sold off a little bit. I have 54 right now. I had 94 to start, but I sat there and I'm like, dude, I wouldn't have the account that I have now. I wouldn't have extra capital that I could play with. Like, and now I don't even want the Tesla. That's the crazy part. It's like, I'm having so much more fun learning how to invest and doing all these things rather than just have a car in my driveway that, is probably not going to be as cool in 3 to 4 years. Like, and that's what I think a lot of people need to think about, going back to your why and all that. Like, for me, the why was I just loved it at the time, but delaying gratification for us, 18, 22 years old is something that's really key, man. I think time's on our side, and we're just going to have to grow the portfolios and grow the financial freedom,
And it's really important we're doing things like this. I really feel like it's super important that you have your channel and I have my channel and everyone has their channels. And we talk about stuff like this because at 16, I wish I'd have known about this. Like I'd have got my mom to open me up a RobinHood account and I'd have put all my money into it. I know I would have, you know what I mean? But the thing about it is, like, when we talk about this, I feel like, and, people who are watching can kind of understand, is that not many people know about this type of stuff. Realistically, the people who are watching these videos are the ones who are looking for it. Right. You know what I mean? And I hope that it gets to the point that one day I can just talk in the hallway. I'm hearing people talk about, yo, did you see what this this did, or this stock, or this financing department, or anything
Right.
like that. And people are just
Right.
more financially educated. And I feel like these channels like these, where we can really sit down and talk and relate, just
Right.
kind of shows the realm of possibility to anyone of any age, anything. There's no boundaries, right? You can be 18 years old living in Alaska and invest in the same thing that me sitting in the middle of a hurricane right now. I can invest in the same thing, right? And I love it, man. YouTube is a platform. Investing in this whole industry is just genuinely something that I'm super excited about. And I feel like over time, it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And I really can't wait to see it happen,
Dude, I've always said this. I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube just became how we learn. I mean, for school, man, I learned stuff in school, but YouTube for me, I've learned everything, bro. Like,
Everything.
if the chair that I'm on right now breaks, I'm gonna YouTube it to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
You're
what
not
I'm
going
gonna
to pull out
do.
an algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go sign up for a class on it. You know what I mean? Like, with guitar, like I remember I got a guitar for Christmas. I was really young, and I was like, hey, I want to learn how to play it. YouTube it, and I learned. And then finance. I'm like, I want to learn to grow my money because I don't want to keep working.
Yeah.
YouTubed it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I wouldn't be surprised, man, if I have a shirt that I always wear on my channel. It's YouTube University.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be a thing, man.
It should.
It should.
It's so much more, I'm not hating on the education system, but I definitely do think it can be improved in a sense. But man, you see so much stuff that real world problems come from, like, YouTube. My life is 1,000% different than it would be without people doing what we're doing, just talking and kind of giving their input. Because I would probably have about $204, maybe $206 on a good day in my bank account right now. And that would be it. I would be probably just spending it on everything. I would have a lot of cool stuff that I don't care about anymore. But, I mean, hey, I got some cool stuff that I could post on picture on Instagram one time and never talk about it again, right? And so, man, it's just doing something like this, just it makes me feel really happy, and I feel really satisfied. I feel like we're able to give people ideas and concepts, because people might not see this and go invest in the stock market, but they might kind of get some understanding of, well, maybe if I just don't do this or I just do that, it changed my life. YouTube changed my life. And so
100%.
It's awesome, man. It's so awesome.
100%. It's a great tool. I love it. And people are watching this for a reason, right? I mean, there's some value in it, right? It's got to be. So
exactly.
YouTube's great. All right. So what kind of stocks are you looking at, man? We're going to go into the summer here pretty soon, 2020. And so for everybody watching, we're both really new YouTubers, depending on, when you guys are watching this video. We're very new. And, like we said, we're no experts. We just like to share our experience and two college kids trying to grow money and stuff. So he's more of a dividend investor, and I'm more on the growth side. Two really good strategies, two proven strategies in the market. You always got to figure out what kind of strategy you're going to use, and you can blend all of these, right? It doesn't always have to be one. You can have a blend of all of them. Go ahead and talk about your dividend stocks that you like for we're in June 2020, so maybe the next couple months.
So I'll pretty much, when I talk about stocks, I don't necessarily go super in depth. I don't maybe go over exact numbers and everything. I'll go over a little bit here, but that's just because I really like people to do their own research. You know what I mean? I don't want anyone to see this and be like, oh, Tyler said buy this stock, so I'm going to buy it. So with that being said, this is not me saying to buy any of these. You know what I mean? Let's just get that out the way. So basically, I will say anyone who's asked me personally, friends of mine, hey, what stock should I invest in? My number one that I'm looking at for, summer 2020, honestly, the rest of 2020 is Store Capital. And, if you know me, if you know anything about my portfolio, I'm a very big REIT guy. REITs are a real estate investment trust. They're basically the ones who own the movie theaters, the stuff. They own the property that those companies rent on. And, the reason that I really like those type of companies is just because they're so diversified. Me personally, I don't believe that, I like diversification, but I think it's really easy to over diversify. but I like to invest in companies that are diversified, if that makes sense. And so
100%.
store capital is one that I'm kind of super big into right now, and that I'm looking to buy probably another 100 shares within the next couple months, just because they're a service-based real estate investment trust. They're not just rental properties or houses or anything like that. It's service-based. It's restaurants, movie theaters, fitness centers, things that pretty much run society. Could you imagine a society without a restaurants or fitness centers? But another reason is because they focus on like businesses that are gonna last. Because a lot of things right now are being taken over by technology. It's a technological evolution and revolution right now, and things are, losing value because technology is just better. It's more efficient. But when you think of a fitness center, it's kind of hard to imagine a world that we could grow muscles with the tap of a button on a phone. People are gonna have to keep working out. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to keep doing those things, and so they invest in those type of companies. And so that's why it's super, in my opinion, super safe. I feel like it can manage through the test of time, and it's just a good stock. It showed great growth over time. It's sitting at a 5.62% dividend yield, which that's nice for me because dividend yields they're super important to me because, like we've seen recently, the stock market can get really stressful. Like it can have ups and downs and ups and downs. But if you invested in a dividend company that you believe is safe and will continue to pay its dividend, you have some type of security. It's like a security blanket. Like even if the value of my stock drops down to $20, it's gonna last. It can make it through it. And that gives me, like, I don't stress about it so much. During this pandemic, I haven't really been that stressed, And so that's why that one, it's about $15 per share roughly under its 52-week high. So that gives it a lot of room to grow. So that growth plus dividends, that makes it a pretty much, for me personally, a must buy,
There you go. There you go. REITs are always a good option. I don't have any right now in my portfolio, but I'm definitely looking to add some. In the near future for sure.
And then I'll talk about one more that I am looking at, like super heavy, and that's actually one that people I think honestly sleep on nowadays, and that's Coca-Cola. Because and this is kind of my mindset on it. Coca-Cola is very established. Coca-Cola, anywhere you go probably has Coca-Cola, unless it's Pepsi, but it's probably Coca-Cola. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the thing is, the reason I'm looking to buy it now, this month, next month, is because people are all inside for the most part. People are just starting to get out, but for the most part, for the last couple months, people have not been going anywhere. Usually, I don't buy a 2-liter of Coke that I just have in my house. But if I'm at a basketball game, a movie theater, stuff like that, people are buying soft drinks. Most people aren't going to go to a movie theater and drink a water bottle. You know what I mean? And so with that being said, as people are starting to get out and people are starting to, get involved in the world, Coca-Cola is going to see its returns. But the thing about it, and this is kind of something I thought about, if you've ever seen a Coca-Cola advertisement, they're focused and like, how many you see during an NBA game and stuff like that? It's because they're showing these things while people are out. And I think as people get back out, they're going to start buying these Coca-Colas. They're going to start drinking more, profits, and it's just going to grow. I really believe it's going to surpass the highs that it saw before. And with that being said, I think it's going to surpass those highs because people aren't going to take for granted getting out again. I think that's a really big thing, is that I did it. I honestly did it. I took for granted the ability to go wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted, to be able to go to that basketball game, go into that movie theater. I think it's people have been so cooped up for so long that they can't wait to go out, go to that basketball game, go to the movie theater, and go do these things, go to the restaurant. And people are going to really take advantage of the opportunity to live their lives and go about. And I think Coca-Cola reaps the benefits of that heavily. And so great dividend yield. It's like 3.62%. Their payout ratio is pretty low. And so I believe it's super safe. They've increased their dividends for 58 years straight. That's a long time. A lot has happened in 58 years. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the fact that it stands the test of time so well, it's a must buy. It's genuinely one. I'd probably like to get about 250 shares by the end of the year. Honestly, I'm going heavy. I'm going heavy for sure. So those are the two that I'm really I'm lasered in on right now for sure.
Right. Yeah, I personally don't think you can go wrong with that company, right? I mean, it's been around for so long. It's a big Warren Buffett investment, right? I mean, I think he has a big stake in Coca-Cola. So We'll have to see, man. You know what it's at right now for trade or for per share
Uh,
price?
it should be sitting right above $49 or
That's what I
so.
was thinking.
So, and its 52-week high is at 60. So it's like, it's pretty close. It's already, because it dropped down to around 35. It was like a 25% drop, and it's already recovering a lot. So it's like, that's why I'm like, I'm getting in because it's going up.
I'm gonna have to take a more look at that, man, because I have one dividend stock, and I made a YouTube video on this recently, and people were kind of confused on my biggest dividend stock is Apple, actually.
Yeah.
And Apple right now is like $330 a share, so it's a lot less affordable than a lot of the dividend stocks out there. But back in 2018, towards the end of the year, we had a little correction, and Apple fell to $150 a share. And I started loading up. My average cost is around $191 dollars, and I got 100 shares, not all at once, but over the span of like 4 months. And that's been my biggest dividend pay. It pays me $82 a quarter, 82 cents a share right now. They've been consistently raising it every year for I don't remember how many years, but with Apple's payout ratio so low, I think around the 20% or so. Yeah. For me, that's been my favorite. Like that's just been
absolutely
the one that I've always gone to. And I've had a couple other companies pay dividends, but I've never been known as like a dividend investor. For some reason, I just never bought companies that pay dividends. I don't know.
And Apple's so far ahead of the game. Apple's like way ahead of everyone even close. So,
for sure. That was my mindset going into it, right? Like I was like, I'm getting the dividend play, I'm getting the value play, and I'm also getting the growth play, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think Apple's going to go anywhere anytime soon unless everybody decides to stop using their products, which we're using our Macs and I'm using my phone.
Right. Exactly.
Then we have a problem, but who knows?
All right.
So as far as growth stocks, man, I've been looking at a couple, and for me, I can't not talk about this stock today because as of recording this video, we're June probably, what was it, 6th, 7th, 8th, something around there. Yeah. I can't not talk about the stock today. Nikola Motors. So right before we did this stream, man, we're talking about 125% gain today. And I don't know if I missed something on Nikola, like Elon Musk decided to quit Tesla and go on the Nikola Motors. I don't know what happened. 125% today. My phone's absolutely blowing up. I can't not talk about the stock just a little bit. Yeah. Now, I'm not an investor of this company right now, but as far as growth stocks, I would be ashamed if I didn't mention it for a lot of people listening.
Absolutely.
Because this is a stock, depending on when you're watching it. I think it's around like $60 a share right now. IPO'd around like 30, I want to say, just really recently, like within the week. And it's been killing it, man. So right now, this company has no revenue in 2020, and that's why it's considered a growth stock because you're basically betting on the company to be profitable and increase revenue, in the next 2, 3, 5 years. Yeah. So if you want a growth stock, I think there's a really good opportunity in Nikola. Again, I'm not invested in it because I'm a Tesla shareholder and I personally like Tesla better. I see the opportunity with Nikola, but for me, my cost base on Tesla is great and I'm not really going to play that game. Yeah. But massive opportunity, man. Massive opportunity. The projected revenue of $150 million in 2021. And I don't know if you've taken a look at the products, but the Badger that they're coming out with, the semi trucks,
nice.
It's killer, man. And they got the what else they got? They got like Sea-Doo, or that's not Sea-Doo, jet skis and other motorsport things. So super exciting stuff. I really think it's gonna be fun to watch for sure in the next couple months, years. I think there's a lot of potential there. So definitely keep an eye out on that one if you're looking for growth stocks. And I got two more on here. The other one is Spotify. So with that Joe Rogan acquisition, I think it was like $100 million for Joe Rogan to be exclusively on Spotify. I mean, the dude gets 190 million downloads every month on YouTube. He's driving a lot of traffic. Yeah, insane, right? Joe Rogan's great. He's great. So I think he's going to drive a lot of traffic to the Spotify platform. I think a lot of people are upset about it, and you're like, oh man, like we're so used to Joe on YouTube. But I think at the end of the day, they're going to be like, all right, like, and they don't even have to pay the premium. They can just go and listen to it. It's just there's going to be ads.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think there's going to be a lot of people that go over and sign up for Spotify. So
Yep.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully that works out. So, and it's pretty strong balance sheet too. I looked over that not too long ago. And so there's a lot of potential with Spotify, in my opinion. And then the third one that I want to talk about is Tesla.
Come on.
So,
Surprise.
man, here's the thing.
Yeah.
People are looking at Tesla right now, right? And they're going, okay, Tesla's, I think we hit $940 a share right now, $950.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money right now. And, keep in mind, you can buy fractional shares if you want. And I'm not just saying to buy right now either, but I'm just saying it's definitely something you need to look at, because in a couple of years, if it's $3,000 a share or whatever, like, you're going to wish you bought at 900, right? Like,
No doubt.
sometimes I have a hard time thinking like that long ahead, but I think, the last 3 quarters, Tesla's shown positive net income. That's huge. They haven't done that in the past. And
yeah.
I mean, also with the SpaceX launch that they just had recently, the successful SpaceX launch, I mean, that guy's running Tesla. The guy that's running SpaceX is running Tesla. And I think that was huge for them to be able to, for people that were just watching that and they didn't know Elon Musk, or they were just fascinated by the whole thing, and they realized that Elon has this public company over here that's also changing the world. I think a lot of attention is going to be dragged over to Tesla and Elon. So I think there's a lot of growth potential there as well. And they, as well as Nikola, man, they got a lot of exciting products, right? Cybertruck, Roadster, they're coming out with semi trucks, and what other one? The Model Y is coming out. Like, they're not stopping anytime soon, man. I was in a Tesla the other day, and I was like, this is the future.
And that's the thing, man. It's when you can sit there and look at a company and think this company is going to slowly continue to change the world, like I'm talking the world. That's how you know it's a buy. I mean, that's how you know this is that opportunity that people look for, man. And I agree with you. I started getting some shares of Tesla on M1 Finance just fractionally, just because it's easier. It's easier on me personally, but it's so revolutionary. We've had such a big technological revolution and everything starting going towards technology, but the one thing that really wasn't was, transportation. We started to get express trains, but just how we experience transporting every day. And to kind of mix that technology in our everyday transporting is genius. It seems so simple now, but at the time, it's genius. It's genuinely genius. I can't agree with you more on that. I can't agree.
I would be a part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure,
really.
I would be a part of it. So, and that's a good point. We talked about you don't have to know everything when you're starting out. I definitely think you should look at fundamental analysis and do all these things. But for me, it was when I first started, it was, do I believe that this company has a big future? And that goes back to me being a growth investor. Like, one of the main reasons I started buying this, I went my friend's Tesla. I was like, dude, this is going to be the car. Like, this is going to be how people drive around. And that changed a lot for me. And I always say, if you're just starting to invest, like, go test the products of the company. If you're wanting to buy Tesla, go drive one, see if you like it. If you hate it and you don't think it's the future, then don't. Personally, I wouldn't buy the stock. You want to believe in the company that you're buying. And it goes back to Spotify too. I made an example in my video the other day. If you're wanting to buy Spotify stock but you use Apple Music, well, you should probably think about why you use Apple Music. Like, what is it about Apple Music that's better than Spotify? Because chances are a lot of people think like you as well. There might be a reason why Apple is better than Spotify or whatever, right?
You won't be as confident in it,
Exactly.
Investing is so much about confidence in your stocks. You won't panic sell as soon as something bad happens. And if you're not confident enough that you like a product, maybe you shouldn't, buy it. Like, no doubt, 100%. I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah, that's what I've always thought is just, if I'm looking into a company, especially a growth stock, if I'm looking into it, do I use it? It also could come down to something as simple as, like, if you've gone on cruises and you're a big cruise guy, and you went on Carnival Cruise, but you hated Royal Caribbean because the service was bad, or you just didn't like the ship or whatever, right? Like, you just think about it from like that, from an investor standpoint, and you're looking at these cruise stocks that were down massively in March. Which one are you going to invest in? Well, if you really hated Royal Caribbean, then you know, and you really enjoyed Carnival, like the past couple cruises you went on, maybe you should look into more into Carnival stock, right?
Exactly.
We need to break down investing to very, very simple terms in the fact that it can get complicated, it can get financially intimidating, but if you look at it from a consumer's perspective, you know, that's what I've always done, and that's why I've done well so far in the portfolio, because I've try to think ahead, and you're not always going to be right. You know, there's a lot more things out of your control, but it's always been, for me, it's been like, okay, do I think this company has a future, and how long do I look to hold the stock, and you know, what's the worst case scenario and all that stuff. So, yeah,
1000%, man.
Cool, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you hopping on, dude. This is,
absolutely.
This has been great. I hope people, you know, really get some value out of this. You know, again, college students are going to be college students. Like, if you want to go to college, you have your why, go for it. Just try to be intentional, man.
Exactly.
You know, I think if you can get anything from this, is just be intentional. And maybe you don't want all the money in the world, and maybe you're fine with doing your job and whatever. That's fine. That's 100% cool. For us, we really sat back and went, why are we doing what we're doing? We really questioned normal society philosophies, I think, right? Like, it was just, I don't really want to go do that, you know? So,
know your why.
But yeah, man, I wish the best of luck for you for your portfolio, man. I'm looking forward to following it. For everybody that doesn't know Tyler right now, My Stock Journey, link will be in the description as well. And if everybody on Tyler's platform, I'm NoCourseFinance. His link will, or my link will be in his description. So
Trevor, NoCourseFinance. Absolutely.
And we're just tracking our journeys, and if you guys want to be a part of it, you have any questions, let us know in the comments. If you watch this whole thing, let us know, because that would really help us out. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll include timestamps as well and kind of map it out for you. So.
Oh yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I look forward to being a part of your journey, and to lots of growth on YouTube and in our portfolios, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I am super excited. You know, this is something that I've always wanted to do, and us finally doing it is just, it's an amazing feeling. You know, I really feel like we're doing something awesome right now. It's a crazy feeling to talk to other people who kind of think like me, and, you know, just map out and document our journeys is super important.
Absolutely. So, well, you know, for you being 18 and me being 22 and looking back at me being 18, it's exactly the mindset that I had was yours. Mm-hmm. And it was so refreshing to watch your video, because I was like, dude, sometimes I thought I was crazy, man. Sometimes I was like, am I the only 18-year-old that's seeing this?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, people are, you know, laughing at me for not doing this and not spending that. And I'm like, you know, am I the only one that thinks like this? Like,
and then when I sit back and watch your videos and I see like how you explain that, dude, like our stories line up so crazily, and it's motivating for me, because I see, like, you know, when you're I didn't have anyone to teach me, you know? And so it's kind of like when you're journeying, like when you take your journey into something, you don't really know what to expect. But whenever you see someone with a similar mindset as you, who's kind of ran the same path as you, it motivates you, because you understand that what you're doing is worth it. You know what I mean? And that's what it feels for me. That's where my inspiration comes from, because I know it's worth it in the end. And so that's why, like I said, hopefully maybe one day I can be that same person for someone else, you know, like you guys are for me. So yeah, it's awesome, man. Super.
Heck yeah, man. Well, best of luck to you, dude.
Oh yeah, same to you.
Look forward to following it. And for anybody watching, if you have any questions, any comments, leave them below. We respond to all comments, because we're not very heavily followed on YouTube. So
everyone,
we respond to everything. So leave us a comment, leave us a like, do all the stuff you can, help us out. And, hopefully you'll see us, you know, with our YouTube channel grow in the next couple of years. Who knows?
Yeah,
all right, man. I'll catch you later. Peace.